You're watching Drake Queen Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Queen Gaming. So you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Mice Tea. So y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alright. Oh yeah, this was getting oddly sexual. I drag my tongue across his arm in tidy rows. The taste is clean, with only a faint salty tinge to it. My whiskers tangle with his arm hair, and I straighten both out into a shape more comforting to my spinning mind. I time my grooming to the same rhythm Gavin makes with the brush. I feel the calming sensation flow into me through his hands and through his skin to my paws. My heart stops racing and my breath deepens. My mania seeps from my feet, though it leaves me with the cool dread of the reality of my situation. I just don't want to be a pet. We both keep grooming each other in silence. I can't bear to look back at him. Then we just put you in charge. I stop my hands and tongue. We what? We put you in charge. You can't be a pet when you're the one in charge. How would I be in charge? Your word's law. You tell me what to do and I don't question it. You say jump, I ask how high. I stop breathing. But I'm so compromised right now. And you tell me to watch your behavior and stop you from doing things. I'm your muscle in your eyes and your ears, your humble servant. My heart leaps into my throat. I can't ask you to do that. Sure you can. I want you to. I'm 500 times bigger than you, for God's sake. I can't be in charge of it, and I can't be in charge of you, too. You're scared of losing control, right? So we explicitly give you as much control as we can. Are you sure? Totally. I think this is something he's very much into. I can't tell if it's the comfort from him grooming my back, but I want to accept his offer. Okay. As long as you keep telling me when I'm acting weird, okay? No problem. So what's your first order? I stop running my hands across his arm. Well, I sort of want to lie down. But climbing these ladders aggravates the way this dress feels. Do you think you could carry me back to the desk? I flinch, imagining all the ways he can reject or deflect my request. Instead, he pulls the brush back and puts his cupped hands on the kitchen counter. Sure, hop on. It seems too quick and easy, but he just stands there smiling and waiting. I hold the front of the dress to keep from tripping and hop on. His hands feel like a mattress under my feet as I teeter in place. Oh god, I didn't think about how he'd feel my mouse paws. I hope he isn't grossed out. Instead, he just keeps smiling. Ready? I nod and he lifts me into the air. It's slower than the night before, but my stomach still lags behind me. With steady caution, he walks me over to the desk and lowers me to its surface. Him carrying me feels a little like how I imagine a flying carpet would feel. I hop off. Was that okay? Yeah, thanks. Anytime you want to get around quickly, let me know. Still want that brushing? Sure, if you can keep researching the tea in the meantime. Yeah, that should give me a free hand to work my mouse. He jolts. Ha! It takes a few seconds of me laughing before he's comfortable to join. Fortunately, it isn't any longer than that. I flop on the bed, still giggling. Gavin sits down. He's able to continue brushing my back while resting his wrist on the desk. The same comforting sensation lulls me back into a peaceful calm, though now it's accompanied by renewed confidence in my situation. Gavin continues his research. Even through all his clicking and typing, he keeps brushing. Even with the noise and light from his computer, I find myself drifting off. I think I mumble something in gratitude before falling asleep. Day 3. Big for her britches. Or are the britches too big for her? Gavin and I sit at his desk eating breakfast, putting her paw down. Huh, interesting. That is, I sit at the miniature table on top of his desk while he sits at the desk itself. He leans back in his chair with his bowl of cereal to give me space. He's careful to chew quietly in such close quarters, but he still manages to be loud at his size. Thank God I don't have misophonia. The noise is reassuring in its own way, as it gives me license to be less self-conscious about my own eating habits. It feels like I'm scooping shovelfuls of food into my gob, but I tell myself that at my size it probably looks dainty. I'm thankful for the justification. I have a ravenous appetite, and satiating it feels so good. Gavin had prepared a spread of crackers with peanut butter, honey, and jam. He paired it with another strawberry and a shot glass full of tea. After every other bite of food, I dip my doll-sized teacup into the shot glass like I'm scooping rum from a barrel. It must be on my 12th cup by now. Second, y'all. Water time. There we go. Hair, get off my desk. Okay. The whole breakfast barely amounts to one cracker for a human, but to me it's enormous. Somehow my mouse metabolism requires a relatively massive breakfast. Maybe I'll just eat my way back to normal size. Gavin doesn't seem to think much about my caloric intake. In fact, he doesn't look at me much at all. I presume it's out of politeness. Between our short bouts of small talk, he keeps his eyes trained on the framed poster behind his monitor. I look behind me at his collection. I noticed them over the previous couple of days, but I didn't put much thought into them. They're definitely posters he'd put into store-bought frames himself. It's a pretty cheap attempt at classing up his apartment, but I've known plenty of guys who wouldn't have even gone that far. What's up with all your nerd posters? Gavin stops chewing. What do you mean? Where'd you get all of them? These are from like an anime or video games or something, right? He scans his wall with trepidation. I mean, they're based on that kind of stuff. It's gonna, I think I know what he's talking about. Like an artist just draws a medieval warrior with weird blue armor so it looks like a video game? No, more like... He coughs. You know, an artist will take a show or a game and draw a scene or location from it. And maybe something that's more of an original composition, so it's not like just a high-res piece of promo art. And maybe it's a little more classy or subtle or something. I smirk. Yeah, giant robots are very classy. He tries to stop grinning as he looks away. I'm just teasing. I'm the one recommending fantasy books for you to read. Some of them look pretty good. What's that one to the left of the monitor? I can tell he's deciding if he believes me, but he doesn't want to miss the chance to show off. That's from Hayabusa Monogatari. That's the sister of the main character, Cade. He promised her he'd come back to return her toy plane after he got back from the war against the Schlagen Empire. Schlagen. And she's waiting for him there at the shrine in that grassy field where he'd made his promise. In the last episode, it's ambiguous if he survives, so you don't know if he's coming back to meet her. So it's kind of, you know, melancholy and pensive and stuff. He trails off as he finishes his recounting. Well, that sounds sweet. He seems genuinely caught off guard by my impression. Oh yeah, it's a great show. I got the poster from this artist I follow online. They're selling prints and stuff at a convention, so I picked one up. With all the other nerds? Yeah, I guess it's that sort of crowd at those things. It's in my library if you go to my TV and look at my saved shows. You can check it out if you run out of your own stuff to watch while I research the tea. I stopped myself from taking the next bite of fruit. Oh, I meant to talk with you about that. Do you think it's possible I can convince you to go back to work again? I'm still as much of a mouse as I was yesterday, and at this rate you'll be out of business by the time I turn back. Gavin sucks in a breath between his teeth. Yeah, I don't know about that. Leaving you alone for those couple hours was already stressing me out. There's just too many things that could go wrong with you alone here. Like what? Could be a fire. Could be a pipe leak and a landlord has to come in here. Could be a gas leak and if you're on the floor, it's only going to take seconds before it's flooded to your height. My meal suddenly becomes a lot less appetizing. Jeez, you didn't need to be so graphic. Sorry, it's just the truth. The world's not, you know, built for you like this. Don't want to catastrophize? Don't want to catastrophize or anything, but look at it from my perspective. Think of how I'd feel if I come home and find something's gone wrong. If I could see from your perspective, we wouldn't be in this mess. I managed to make him chuckle. Well, what if I just come with you to work then? How would we do that? I don't know. You got me from my apartment to yours. I was sort of under the impression that wasn't great for you. It was better than staying by myself that night. I'd be willing to do it again. Gavin rubs the back of his neck while looking away. I don't know. I can still think of a lot of things that might go wrong. Like, what if I trip and land on the bag with you inside it or something? Have you ever tripped on your own your commute to work? One time, when there was snow. I sit down my teacup. Do you remember what you promised last night? Yeah. Well, I just asked if you take me to work with you. Now, I'm telling you you're going to take me to tea friends with you. He gulps. Okay then. I will. Try to make some accommodations for that then. He sets his bowl down on the far side of the desk and stands up to start his preparations. I pick my teacup back up and take a sip, satisfied. If my heart was as big as it feels, I'd be well on my way to being my normal self again. I convinced Gavin to let me ride in his vest breast pocket on the short train ride over to the shop. The two tea friends. Huh. Not that I have to convince him, he's required to do whatever I ask, but I like to think I make a good enough case that he would have let me ride shotgun even if I didn't have complete veto power. It's a lot less stuffy than his bag, and I imagine there's less of a chance of being jostled and squished if I'm on his person instead of inside something fellow commuters can bump into. The pocket has just enough space for me at my size. Unfortunately, my dress takes up as much volume as I do. I hide behind his pocket square most of the time, but I peek out when I judge it to be inconspicuous. At least your commute is shorter than mine. I might have stayed home if we had to travel all the way from Brixton. Gavin peers out of the corner of his eye to make sure no one notices him talking to himself. We can still go back if you like. Are you kidding? We're already there! We approach the front door of Tea and Friends, and Gavin lets us in. As we enter, I can almost feel the sense of all the tea swirl around me. It's stronger and richer than any experience I've had in the store before, and I already loved how the store smells. Oh wow, it smells amazing in here!
More so than usual?
Definitely! I think I can even pick out individual types.
That would be pretty impressive. Pretty sure I can't do that.
Neither could I before. I think I might just smell better in mouse form.
Couldn't tell you. I never spent much time smelling you either way.
Hey!
He didn't say anything about me not being able to tease you back.
Well then let me out of here so I can tell you what to do. He pinches the collar of my dress and lifts me out before cupping my feet from below. He lowers me down and I stumble onto the counter with ruffled inelegance. I would have accused him of making me look bad on purpose if I was capable of thinking of a better way to handle that. Popping back up to attention, I smooth out my dress as much as I can. Okay, should I stay stashed behind the counter as you work?
Yeah, I can clear out a shelf for you pretty easily. I'll be working on the tea at the counter anyway, so I don't have to go back and forth from the back room all the time to check on customers.
Oh, wait, I didn't ask you how far you've gotten with investigating the tea. What did you figure out last night?
Well, I think I've got a good idea what's inside the tea. It's a weird mismatch of herbal tea components, red root, geogulon, patchouli, riobos, tea olive, white mulberry, horehound, and other stuff.
Ew, that sounds weird.
Exactly. I think all that stuff is just filler because the tea doesn't smell like any of those things combined. But when I separated them, they all smell normal. I'd ask you to confirm with your heightened senses, but I still want to limit your exposure.
Yeah, that's smart.
But I did pick out a plant I didn't recognize. It's this blue-green leaf that maintained the scent of the overall tea and was the one thing I definitely couldn't identify. Figuring out what it was took the bulk of last night, but I'm somewhat confident I've got it nailed down.
What is it?
Well, there's this plant that's associated with the transformation myths in a couple of East Asian cultures. It's smoked or eaten to transform people into animals and vice versa. Soldiers sneaking into enemy camps as monkeys, or foxes trying to trick men into marrying them and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
It's a real plant, and everything I read says there's no evidence it actually has the powers it does in fables, but it also looks really different in color than what's in the tea bags. My guess is whoever made the tea figured out some fermentation or oxidation process that brought out those properties for the first time in centuries.
What's it called?
He looks above me and to the side. Well, it's got a couple names from those languages that I'm not gonna attempt, but it does have a name in English that is,
What is it, like dirty or something?
No, I just don't know if you want to hear it.
I think I can handle the name of the plant. He lets out a drawn-out sigh. He knows I'll just order him to do if he keeps refusing.
It's called, Transfern.
His shoulders droop as he looks away. Oh, okay. He peeks back down at me.
You're not mad?
No, it makes sense. Transform, transfern. Yeah, I get it.
Oh. I kinda thought you'd think it sounded too, I don't know, cute or something.
I'm 4 inches tall and wearing a doll dress. It's gonna take a lot to make a dent on that front.
1 second, y'all. Water time. There we go. Delicious. Oh, good to know. And you're really okay just hanging out on the shelf while I work?
Yeah, it doesn't sound any worse than hanging around your apartment all day. Just, keep me company if the store's empty and I want to talk, okay?
Sure thing.
Gavin bends down to clear his shelf of notebooks and boxes until I have my own little hovel. He holds out his palm with his thumb held up as a handle. I hop on and he lowers me down to my shelf. I think I'm getting used to this. My stomach almost stays in place now. After letting me hop off, he furnishes my little cubby with some snacks and a seat for me. He was also nice enough to bring my phone to entertain me. He knows how annoying I'll be if I have nothing to do all day.
You all set?
Yeah, go ahead and open the shop. He nods and I hear him clomp over to the front door to unlock it before returning to his post behind the counter.
Gonna start on the box today. First I need to figure out what language it even is.
Oh, good luck.
You too. I guess.
I turn on my phone as I hear Gavin set up his laptop and prep bowls on the counter above me. I set the volume as low as I can and resume the last show I'd watched in my queue. This is weirdly like using one of the touchscreen kiosks at the mall. Thankfully, I'd already entered the store's Wi-Fi password months ago. It'd be a pain to punch in at my size. Oh, that's cute. I take a seat at the hacky sack he brought for a seat, grab a popcorn kernel from the pile next to me, and settle in for a long day of binging. Just like the bookstore, it takes a while for customers to trickle in. In the meantime, we have the opportunity to chat to confirm the sound isn't bothering him and that he isn't shaking the counter too much as he moves around. But eventually Gavin has to work. The shop chime would jingle, and I'd hear the customers shuffle around the floor after being greeted. Though they're muffled from behind the counter, I find myself remarkably adept at tracking them by sound alone. I guess I'm just better at hearing now? Though I should be with these dinner plates attached to my head. I keep half my attention on the customers as I listen to them wander around and direct questions at Gavin. I have opinions about most of them, though usually Gavin's recommendations match my own. The few times I don't, I take the opportunity to voice them when the store is empty. He never really pushes back on any of them. The other half of my attention is split between my shows and spelling all the teas in the shop. It's especially noticeable every time Gavin pulls one of the bulk tea bins from behind the counter to scoop into a bag for the customer. Each time he removes the lid, a cloud of fragrance wafts out and drifts down to my shelf. It's like a fog rolling in. The scents are so full-bodied and rich, it's like I could swim through each one of them and pick out different parts of each blend. If I rub my fingers together, I might be able to feel the oils in them. Or whatever you call what paws have instead of fingers. At the very least, I appreciate the distraction from how the dress feels on me. During a particularly long lull between customers, I call up to Gavin. How's the translation coming along?
Well, I figured out it's Japanese, so that's a start.
You have anime posters on your wall and it's taken you this long to figure out it's Japanese?
Hey, I just wait for the dubs. And the handwriting is really hard to read on this. I couldn't tell if it was Chinese or some other Asian language. I'm gonna start poking around to see if I can pick out any important parts. How have you been?
I'll have to rewatch these episodes later when I'm not distracted. All the teas smell too good like this. I'm super glad that last customer bought the silver tip tea.
Oh yeah, that guy's a pretty big spender. Was it good though?
It was intoxicating. It was like walking through a tea estate and an orange grove at the same time.
So the citrus notes are that prominent, huh?
Totally. I stand there for a moment, reveling in the memory and the current blend of scents that surround me. You know, as long as I'm this size, there's probably some opportunities to indulge a little bit.
What do you mean?
Just, maybe I could do a few things I couldn't normally do without spending an ungodly amount of tea.
I'm not letting you Scrooge McDuck around the bulk tea bins.
Geez, I wasn't thinking of something like that.
Alright, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks or a tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!